Justice League is currently Zack Snyder's last film scheduled with DC, but not if these fans have their way. I'm Sasha Perl-Raver, and this is Screen Junkies News. On Monday night of this week, we learned the unfortunate news that while Ben Affleck will still don the cape and cowl to be the Batfleck we love, he has moved out of the director's chair for DC's still in development film, The Batman. Now, this set off a flurry of fan speculation on who Warner Brothers should get to fill that chair. I mean, hell, we even got in on the fun. But one intrepid fan took to change.org and started a petition for Zack Snyder to take over. As she says, Snyder has, quote, a stellar record with comic book and graphic novel properties, has been in control of the DC Extended Universe, and his commitment to source material, extraordinary visual style, and previous experience make him the ideal candidate, end quote. She finished by noting that Snyder teamed up with Affleck as a writer and producer, quote, it might just make the best comic book film we've seen yet. At the time of recording this show, 3,645 people have signed the petition. Now, we're two of those people, Markia McCarty and Dan Murrell. We're here to find out, did you sign?
It's on my list of things that I might do.
Boo!
Yeah, no.
No? Had not signed?
No.
Shocking.
Will not sign.
Will not sign.
Will not sign.
Ah, Markia taking a hard stance. Why will she not sign?
He kind of broke my heart with Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman. I am okay with someone else taking the helm for the Batman. I would actually prefer it. I think we need to take a different direction. Batman has gotten too aloof. He's too remote for me, in any case, and I want somebody that's going to bring that Batman right back into my face again.
Interesting. Well, we've talked a lot recently about some of the issues with Deadpool and how Ryan Reynolds possibly has too much control. That could have been an issue here with the Batman. When you have a star who takes over, sometimes they do too much. Dan, what do you think?
I think it depends on, are you giving that star control because they have an actual vision for the character? For example, Ryan Reynolds had a lot of control on Deadpool, and I think that's one of the reasons why it turned out so great, was because he said, this is how I want to do the character. I'm not going to compromise what I want to do, and it turned out great. Sometimes I think it's a vanity thing, or it's just a name-only type thing, and that can go terribly wrong because sometimes, not everybody needs unchecked authority.
That's very true, Lucas.
Exactly. So I think the real question is, what was Ben Affleck's take on it? And really, they came to this determination. He didn't believe he could give performance and direction the focus that they both needed. As I was corrected on when we did our breaking story. So it's hard to say. I'm generally of the term that one person should never be completely in control of anything, because you need that checks and balances, especially when you're just in the weeds of making a movie. There's so many moving pieces and it's hard to see the big picture.
I've said this many times about Clint Eastwood, who I'm just like, Grandpa, put the camera down. Just please stop. The thing about Ben Affleck is I love his directorial style. I think he's a great writer, but man, Live by Night sucked. And I wonder if this is part of that burn. Do you guys think that had anything to do with it?
I'm not 100% certain, but I think that's a really good track to go down. Like, for instance, like with Justice League, he just became an executive producer on that because he wanted to have more control over it. And it's like, sometimes too much is just too much. You need to take a step back. You need to stop stretching yourself thin and focus in on what it is that you actually want to get done. And let other people have input. I'm a little weirded out by it. I love Batman. I love Marvel, but I love Batman, and I just want the best possible Batman.
He was, though. I mean, I think that Ben Affleck was the best Batman we've seen since Keaton. I know that is not the most popular opinion, but that is my opinion. And I think he's a great actor, but I wonder if he literally was like, this is getting really complicated. There's a lot of pressure on this. My last movie didn't perform. I'm going to step away. Dan?
I could see that being a burnout. I mean, he's been shooting Live by Night, and then I'm sure he jumped right into all that hype, and he got so much crap when he got cast as Batman. So then that swirled, and then he shot Batman v Superman. I'm sure he jumped right into Justice League right after that. I don't blame the guy if he's like, you know what? This has been insane. This has been nuts. This has been 2-3 years of my life. And maybe I just want to show up and say some lines and not have to worry about directing this movie. I don't blame the guy, especially
he maybe wrote.
Live by Night was a passion project for him. It's something that he worked so hard to get made, And depending on what reports you believe, there may have been some stuff with the studio that maybe they didn't give him the support that he needed. Maybe it just wasn't a great idea. That happens. But when you put so much of your time and effort into something for that long and it fails so spectacularly, that's very discouraging. So I don't blame the guy.
You're gonna have to self-care on something like
Exactly.
that. And then plus, I don't think he really realized how rabid comic book fans can be about their universes.
Man.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know that people were hounding him after his last project, and he's like, "Hey, let me breathe for a second."
Sure.
Like there was even a quote of him like having to say that to people, and it's like, yes, we're rabid.
Yeah.
Yes, we want it now. We're not willing to wait for it.
Listen, we're going to get it in the comments on this. By the way, if you do need self-care, the Puppy Bowl is on this Sunday. Never forget the Puppy Bowl with the Kitten Halftime Show. Okay, question. Do fan petitions actually work? Here are some that have worked in the past. Chuck got one more season. Firefly didn't get renewed, but fans got serenity out of it because of their rabid campaigns. There was a letter writing campaign that you could say saved Quantum Leap, although I have to say I'm still so pissed about that finale, and I desperately, desperately want a TV movie so we can actually wrap this thing up. Jericho, the fans sent in peanuts, and they actually got, hey, Skeet Ulrich, who is in one of my new favorite shows, we're going to talk about that later. Star Trek, the original series, got one more season because of fan outcry. Some people say that fans might have saved Young Justice. Now, here's the thing. You guys, this is a change.org petition. If you're not aware of what change.org is, it's something that President Obama started because he wanted to actually exact political change and social change. This is not the best use for it.
Yeah, we need a fans.org or something. We need to give change.org
Fanschange.org.
Fanschange.org.
It just.
But will this work? Do you think that, especially with 3,000... Oh wait, well, was it 3,645 signatures? Do you think that is enough? What do you think this needs to get to for people to be like, oh, Zack Snyder should take over?
I just think this is tunnel vision. This is tunnel vision thinking right now. I mean, I think it's very impassioned. You know, I respect it for what it is, but also it's change.org. it's not supposed to be for this. And okay, that's just my opinion, but it kind of cheapens the change.org for me because this is a fan-inspired thing. This is a fan passion project. I get that. But that's different of saying this specific director for this project as opposed to this beloved series, we want to see some more. You know, that's different.
Sure.
And I think also there's one thing in common with all these other petitions you mentioned and fan outreach, which is those are all television shows. And I think those are more effective because when you have a widespread thing, when you have 300,000 people sending peanuts to CBS to save Jericho, or when you have 1 million people that write a letter to save Star Trek, networks can say, these are 300,000 or whatever, however many people that are going to watch this show if we save it because you're not going to do this and then not watch the show. Whereas with this, it's online, it's a signature. The movie is 2 years away. So I think the TV thing is direct involvement and networks know that, okay, well, if this many people are demanding it, we know that this many people are going to watch if it comes back. Whereas with this, it's just who knows who.
Right. And then whatever director ends up, directing the Batman, are you not going to go see it? Please.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who they put on it. I'm going to go see it.
It is a relatively critic-proof property, but that doesn't mean that whoever does take over won't catch a lot of flack for whatever they choose to do. We already played this game. We're going to play it again. We're also going to recap. We asked on a previous show, who would you like to see in the director's chair? Joe Starr. I like these choices. Chan-wook Park was one of his choices. Old Boy and The Incredible Handmaiden, which not enough people saw this year. It was so good. And Chad Stahelski, the dudes who were doing one of the co-directors of John Wick 1 and now doing John Wick 2. Andy Signor said Kevin Smith or Lexi Alexander. Alicia Malone stole my idea and took George Miller. But we're going to play it again. You guys, who do you want to see direct? Dan.
Well, I said David Fincher the day that we broke this news, and I've said it on other shows. So something kind of occurred to me today when I was thinking about this, because I didn't want to do the same thing again. I was thinking about the idea of a Batman movie, and I was thinking about taking away what we've seen, taking away Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. In my head, if you had told me that Zack Snyder was going to direct a Batman movie, I would have actually thought that was a pretty interesting idea. I would have thought that the dynamic that he brings to that and the fact that Affleck is involved creatively, the fact that he's got Terrio and other writers working on this project, that Zack Snyder is bringing his style to it, that really would have intrigued me. So I don't think it's the worst idea in the world.
All right, so you are signing the petition.
I'm not signing the
You're
petition
verbally signing the
because
petition now.
that's in a world where none of these other things existed.
Right.
However, I would like to point out that the Batman stuff in Batman v Superman was the best stuff in the movie.
It was.
So it's not the worst idea in the world. I've got to be honest. It's really not.
Markia?
Well, I would go with Catherine Bigelow. I mean, if they could get her for any project, DC or Marvel, I want her for Marvel, but DC she would be a fantastic fit for, because Zero Dark 30. She Point Break is still relevant because of Catherine Bigelow. She made you care about a FBI agent turned surfer undercover. It's amazing. And she's been, Hurt Locker. Yeah. Action-packed movies, but making you care about those characters. That's where she lives.
Totally. And I asked Ben Affleck on the record, and he said 100% the town was Point Break from Patrick Swayze's point of view. It's true. Well, I would like to see, they keep talking about how they want this to be more like Logan. I think that if that's what you want, then grab James Mangold.
Oh, yeah.
Throw him in there. Let's get it. Do it. Have fun, bud. If what you want is Logan, then hire the guy who's making Logan.
Yeah.
Well, we also asked you guys on Twitter, and we have the delightful, the lovely, the luscious. Oh, it's Charlie Feldman.
This love is so real, guys.
It's so real. That
even
shirt is so
know.
real, too. So what did people say on Twitter? Who do they want?
So Devin Colson says he'd like to see Matt Reeves,
Good.
which is a great call.
Great
and
call.
Farman Bond says just what Alicia Malone said. Let's go for George Miller. He had a Justice League vision
Yeah.
way back when. Let's see what he has for Batman. And me personally, all of these filmmakers have to work within the system. A lot of people find that hard. David Fincher would be a dream, but he has to work within the system. Alfonso Cuarón came into Harry Potter, and although he had his complete different take on it, he knows how to work within a system, and Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite of all the movies for Harry Potter. Bring back Cuarón.
I think that's so interesting also because he does have such a dark take on things.
Exactly.
And was
Children of Men
able
is
to even,
brilliant.
Brilliant. And was even able to make a Harry Potter movie dark and yet still relevant and accessible. And that's exactly, oh, you said that and I just got the chills, man. That is a great.
It won't happen, but I mean, Alfonso, if you're listening, call a DC rep your way.
Seriously. Well, we want to know what you guys think, but more than that, we want to know, are you signing the petition? Did you put your name on it? You still can. Go to change.org, but also go down to the comments. Let us know what you think. You can always tweet us at SJ News. Come back here for more Screen Junkies. See you soon.